Welcome to another Hows and Grows breakdown, and today we're talking about how Minnesota's defense suffocated the Clippers to turn a 22-point deficit into an 18-point win. This felt like one of Minnesota's best defensive halves of the entire season, and that might be because we saw the exact opposite for the first quarter and a half, say, of this game. The Clippers came out gunning, and the Wolves really had nothing to stop them in terms of perimeter defense or their help inside the paint, and before you could blink, LA were running away with this game. They scored 137 points per 100 possessions in that opening half, which is insanely good, but that got flipped on its head in the second half as Minnesota held them to just 80 points per 100 possessions, which is extremely bad. And I want to zoom in specifically on the third quarter of this game because those 12 minutes of swarming defense are what really snatched the game away from LA and seemingly broke the Clippers mentally. And we're just going to start out with this Jaden McDaniels special. He's shooting about 4% from the field lately, but he can still defend, and that's what makes him so valuable. So here he needs to get over this screen, which isn't easy because Zubac is enormous. But when he catches up, he gets back around Harden instead of falling for that foul baiting, while Alexander Walker comes out of the gap help here and gets back to the shooting outlet to not only take away that three, but also stick with Paul George when he tries to dance on him. Then it's McDaniels who can dig down in gap help to get a hand in there and force the ball out of PG's hands, and then McDaniels himself finishes off the possession by rotating back out of that and contesting Harden's three. And that defense kind of set the tone for the second half of this game. It's hellacious on-ball defense with everyone on the perimeter working in unison. And you see that communication and togetherness on this next possession as well. Double drag ball screens, Gobert steps up to crowd Harden. McDaniels is again alert to sag off and hold up Zubac's roll, and then Edwards is sliding across the baseline to cover that roll as well, and that forces Harden to fling a pass over Gobert, and it ends up 6 rows back. When the cogs of the machine are working so smoothly, it just makes this Wolves defense a nightmare to execute against. And when they can start using their elite defense to fuel their inconsistent offense, that's when this team can start choking other teams out. Here it's McDaniels again. He gets under this off-ball screen and cuts off PG's drive off the catch, while still being able to close down a potential jumper as well with his length. Then when the ball screen comes, he gets over that and still has the IQ to veer out of it and steal the pocket pass. That begins the break, the Wolves get out and run, and some textbook screen navigation on the defensive end leads to a wide open corner triple at the other end. One thing I really loved in this game was the way that Minnesota was switching and the timing on those switches. So it's a high double ball screen again. Alexander Walker switches here and McDaniels jumps out onto Harden as well. And when the screen knocks him off, Alexander Walker digs all the way in to stop the easy pocket pass while Gobert steps up to take the ball. That forces Harden to try that corner pass again, and Edwards is staying home there to knock it away. There just aren't many teams in the league who can guard a Harden, George, and Zubac screening action with such seamless ease. And really all season that's been the magic potion for Minnesota. Their switches, rotations, and positioning within a team defense is so good, but they also have elite individual defenders as well. You see McDaniels is shadowing PG here as he squirms around the paint. The ball comes out and it's another perfect switch onto Powell. When he starts to get downhill, Gobert is going to shuffle across and make him see a body waiting for him at the rim. That calls Edwards out of the gaps and back to close out to the corner. He runs back into Gobert, who's stepping up again. McDaniels is sprinting back out to run another off the line. Edwards is back into gap help, and eventually they're just going to force that leaning runner to graze off the front rim. That's one of the best defensive possessions you will see this season. But at the same time, it's something we've seen Minnesota do so often throughout this campaign. And again, the best part here is that they parlay that insane possession into a run out at the other end, where they can get easy points rather than having to face a set defense. It just always feels like there's another body within Minnesota's defense. The Clippers managed to circumvent their pick and roll defense here, but Alexander Walker peels off his own assignment and gets in position to take a charge here on the pass and crash. It's just a never-ending tsunami of bodies and length and defensive IQ, so even without Karl Anthony Towns to help them offensively, Minnesota are going to have a chance in every game because this is what they do defensively almost every single night. Again, it's a perfectly executed switch here because Anderson can check big wings as well as anybody too. Now Naz Reid and Edwards are both stepping over at the rim, and they're so good at scrambling out of these possessions. J-Mac stunts at the corner, Edwards chases out from the paint to close down the next pass to the shooter. Anderson follows PG and doesn't overcommit to the drive here, which is important, and then Reid steps back across to block that shot at the rim. Once again, they turn another ridiculous defensive possession into points at the other end, and while the game was still in the balance at the end of the third frame, it was pretty obvious the Clippers had run out of ideas, and the fourth quarter was filled with isolation offense and easy stops for Minnesota as they sprinted away with this game. Thanks again for watching another Howes and Drows breakdown. Please subscribe for more, like the channel, and keep following. I appreciate everybody's support.